Now, cousin, we gotta talk. Lean in. I feel we've romanticized Cruel Intentions a bit too much because rewatching this at my big age, both Sebastian and Catherine needed jail time. Let's talk about it. Now, what we thought was a sexy, scandalous love story was really just manipulation, power plays, and rich teens with little to no consequences. Katherine and Sebastian were a ruthless team, determined to destroy anything and anyone they touched. And who would have thought that something as pure as love would be the thing that changed everything for the worse? With that being said, when watching this movie, I noticed some things, and I have my thoughts. But before we get to that, it's time to recap. So let's get into it. We meet Sebastian as he meets with his therapist, and this therapist was so focused on pushing her book that she didn't even realize that she was being played the entire time. Or maybe she didn't care. She definitely didn't care. While Sebastian pretended to be butthurt that he wasn't going to see her again since she was going on a book tour, he just so happened to see her daughter's picture in a frame on her desk. The therapist tried to take his attention away from her daughter since she was well aware of Sebastian's issues. But the problem was, she was a little bit too late. Her daughter had already been acquired.
Told me he loved me, and I believed him.
Calm down.
Cut your psychobabble bullshit, Mom. There's pictures of me on the internet.
Christ! How could you be so stupid?
You're gonna pay for this, you little shit! You hear me?
On to the next victim, I guess.
So what's your name?
Larissa.
God, you're beautiful. I'm gonna take you to lunch.
Then we met Cecile and Mrs. Caldwell. Miss Caldwell set up a meeting so that Catherine could help Cecile adjust to the new school, and Catherine promised to do this. Catherine presented herself as quite the lady, while Sebastian, on the other hand, was a proud sleazeball.
My, what an adorable shirt you're wearing.
Thanks, my father took me on a trip to Australia.
How are things down under? Blossoming, I hope.
Sebastian!
Now, while Sebastian had no problem showing his true self to anyone and everyone, Catherine was a little bit more careful and calculated. Catherine and Sebastian loved missions. This mission involved Court Reynolds, Catherine's ex. Court had left her for someone else, that someone being Cecile, the new student. Catherine wanted to humiliate and ruin Cecile's reputation as get back. If you were wondering why she just didn't aim her dagger at Court, well, she didn't want anything to come back to her.
Everybody loves me, and I intend to keep it that way.
For Catherine, her reputation was very important. As Catherine tries to sell this mission to Sebastian, she gets flirty with him, which is quite gross because they are step-siblings. And this was all in an effort to manipulate him to sleep with Cecile. But Sebastian had his eyes on someone else. Sebastian handed Catherine a magazine article that contained Annette's manifesto. And in this article, she discussed being a virgin and wanting to wait until marriage to have sex. She was the new headmaster's daughter and she was transferring to the school in the fall. And Sebastian desperately needed another notch on his belt. But as he's telling Catherine about her, Catherine tells him that Annette was out of his league and he couldn't possibly have sex with her. And since they both like to keep things interesting, Catherine suggests a bet. If he can sleep with Annette, then she will allow him to sleep with her.
If I win, then that hot little car of yours is mine.
If I win?
I'll fuck your brains out.
No way.
You can put it anywhere.
And with that, Sebastian heads to his aunt's house where Annette was staying. She will be staying there for a few weeks until school started. Once his aunt heads inside, he tells Annette that he read her manifesto and that he found it appalling since she shouldn't be able to judge something she hadn't experienced. She tells him that she believes people shouldn't have sex or move too fast unless their feelings are mutual and genuine.
I wouldn't expect a man of your experience to understand my beliefs.
What's that supposed to mean?
You've been very well informed of your reputation. Promise girls the world to get them in bed with you.
Who told you this?
Why do you sound so surprised? It's the truth, isn't it?
If you say so.
And now the poor child was curious. We went to Cecile having her violin lessons with Ronald, and Catherine observes quietly without interrupting for a minute. It was long enough to notice that there were some sparks between Ronald and Cecile. And you would think Catherine would stop this mission since it was very clear that Cecile wasn't worried about Court, but that would be too much like right. Sebastian was hard at work trying to figure out who told Annette about him and his reputation. While at his friend Blaine's house, they talked about Annette and who could have possibly told her about him and the way he moves. Turns out, Blaine knew Greg, Annette's friend, quite well. They slept together. So now Sebastian wanted to set up Greg so that he could find out if he was the one that told Annette about him. Meanwhile, Cecile and Katherine continued hanging out together.
So rumor has it that you went on a date with Court Reynolds.
He kept talking about this bulimic head case he dumped over the 4th of July.
Bulimic head case.
Yeah. What a loser she must be.
Ow!
Sorry.
Cecile tells Katherine that she and Court were supposed to hang out over Labor Day weekend, but she was nervous about it since she didn't have any experience with guys. So Katherine offers to show her how to kiss. And though Cecile finds it quite odd to practice on another girl, she agrees to let Katherine show her.
Not bad. That was cool.
Cecile was so green. Too green to be hanging around a bunch of wolves. Katherine brings up Ronald and suggests that Cecile kiss him. Cecile admits that she likes him and thinks about him all the time, but she was concerned that her mother would freak out since Ronald was black. She'd written him love letters and even told Katherine where she hid them. So Katherine tells her to bring her all the love letters that she'd written, and then she in turn would write the perfect love letter for Ronald on her behalf. And Cecile agrees to give her the letters. Back at Sebastian's aunt's house, Annette was in her room reading when suddenly she started to hear music in her room. So she walked around the house to see where the music was coming from, and this led her to the pool area where Sebastian was. He gives her a bag with her name engraved on it, and while she said that he didn't have to do it, she accepts the gift. Sebastian then asks her to join him for a swim, and she agrees to, but when she comes back down to join him, she finds him a bit exposed, and child, she was flustered. Annette recites what was told to her in the letter she received, warning her about Sebastian, and Sebastian admits that he'd done things in the past that he wasn't proud of. He goes on to tell her that he envies her because she's smart and has morals, unlike him, everything he'd want in a girlfriend. But she reminds him that she's seeing someone, Trevor. And though Sebastian continues to push, she tells him that he wasn't her type.
Honestly, you're smart, you're beautiful. Listing my qualities on your fingers is not going to get you anywhere with me. Best you can hope for is my friendship, and you're really walking a fine line at that.
Though inexperienced in some areas, Annette was aware enough to see right through him. So Sebastian headed back to Blaine to get the answers he needed from Greg. He walked in on Greg and Blaine doing the do, and you know Greg desperately wanted to keep his adventure secret, so Greg agreed to put in a good word for Sebastian.
So what else do you know about Sebastian?
He's really dedicated to achieving his goals. Always gives 110%. He's always watching my back.
I don't know, Greg. I've just been hearing some really awful things about him.
Now it's my job to look out for you, right? You're like a sister to me. I swear to you on my mama's life.
This is your friend, and you are selling her up a creek. And then you swore on your mama's life. While Greg wasn't the snitch, he did find out who the snitch was, Mrs. Caldwell, Cecile's mom. Meanwhile, Katherine was at home watching more footage of Cecile and Ronald's violin lessons.
Completely tried to outdo me with this one-handed cartwheel, which is so stupid because I told her for a long time, for like 2 weeks, that I could do this. And then I could do it for a really long time, and my best friends Sue and Kelly and Francis, and I could do it for so long. You see, then
Listen, Sebastian couldn't wait to tell Katherine that Mrs. Caldwell was responsible for telling Annette to stay away from him. He planned to devote all his energy into destroying her. And it was perfect timing since Katherine had grown quite bored of looking at footage of Cecile and Ronald since they were moving at a snail's pace. So her plan was to push things along by ratting out Cecile to her mother. Since Cecile was planning to meet up with Court the following week, Katherine wanted Sebastian to speed up her sexual awakening. We fast forward to Sebastian calling Annette, and while he tried to pretend that he lost his glasses, Annette figured out pretty quickly that that wasn't the reason for his call. So Sebastian asked her to hang out with him the next day, and she did. Katherine ended up meeting with Mrs. Caldwell to tell her about Cecile and Ronald. She even told her about Cecile's letters and where to find them. And you already know Miss Caldwell was pissed, so she immediately goes home and crashes Cecile's violin lessons and confronts Ronald.
How dare you treat me with such disrespect? I got you off the streets, and this is how you repay me?
Got me off the streets? I live at 59th and Park.
Whatever.
Ronald called her what she was, a racist. And even though she denied being one, it was very obvious that she was. And guess who meets him as he exits the building? They show him the fake letters from Cecile and convince him to keep pursuing her, and they even offer to help him.
Email is for geeks and pedophiles. Be romantic. Write her another letter.
Well, how will I get to her?
We'll make sure she gets it.
Why are you guys doing this for me?
Now, there has to be some bone in his body that feels that this is wrong, very wrong. But the heart wants what it wants, I guess. Sebastian starts to have second thoughts and questions if Katherine is aware of what she's doing and how it will destroy Cecile and probably Ronald. At the end of the day, she's innocent in this. And at this point, she's not even worried about Court. She's about as worried about Court as Court is worried about Katherine. But she's still trying to ruin this girl as if it's her fault that Court didn't want her. Crazy work. So Katherine calls Cecile and Sebastian reluctantly starts their plan. He tells Cecile that he has a letter from Ronald and convinced her to sneak out of the house to come to his house. When she gets there, he has her write a letter for Ronald, but he ends up balling it up behind her back. He gives this girl a Long Island iced tea, so she's drunk and she doesn't know why. She didn't even know she was drinking alcohol this whole time. Sebastian tried to convince her to take sexy pics, but she immediately shut him down. So Sebastian threatened to tell her mom that she snuck out.
All I want to do is give you a kiss. Cecile, you promised to let me kiss you.
But then why?
I don't want to kiss you here. I want to kiss you there.
Huh? It tickles.
Oh.
Child, something about this scene just gives me the absolute ick. Anyway, the next day, Cecile goes to Sebastian's aunt's house for breakfast. Sometime after, Sebastian comes over and Cecile was disgusted at the sight of him. While Sebastian thought he was going to chill and hang with Annette all day, his aunt had other plans. She suggested that he and Annette go to the nursing home to visit patients on her behalf. Ironically enough, Sebastian was able to entertain this poor lady in only a way that he could.
We played backgammon, Mrs. Sugarman.
Oh, we played backgammon?
Uh-huh. Then I fucked your daughter.
Excuse me?
I said, would you care for some water?
Hey, how's it going in here?
Oh, we played backgammon. And I won 3 times.
After they were done, Sebastian tried to pretend that he had a good time, but he ended up admitting that he was bored. Annette wasn't bothered by this. She encouraged him to be honest and for him to lighten up.
Stop it, it's distracting.
At this point, it was becoming more obvious that Sebastian's walls were coming down, and he may have real feelings for Annette, and Annette may have the same feelings for him. Katherine came over to Cecile's house to talk about what happened between her and Sebastian.
He went down on you.
If that's what you call it.
Cecile admits that she liked the act, but had complicated feelings about it. And Katherine spins this as a good thing and that she's becoming a woman, and she even encouraged her to gain more experience so she could please Ronald when it was time.
Don't you want to make Ronald happy? Practice makes perfect, Cecile. My advice is to sleep with as many people as possible.
That would make me a slut.
Everybody does it. It's just that nobody talks about it.
So what does Cecile do? She gives her virginity to Sebastian. Or should I say he took it? Child, she was coerced to give her virginity to Sebastian. There, I said it. It didn't take long for Katherine to realize that Sebastian was falling in love with Annette, and that made her even more bitter.
She made me laugh.
That's why you're losing our bet?
I'm not losing our bet. It's just taking a little longer than I expected.
Sebastian and Annette continue spending time together, and Sebastian ends up telling her that he has feelings for her and wants to be with her, but he questions if she feels the same. Now, at this point, we know that it is still very much a game, but it's getting harder to decipher if he's being manipulative at this point or honest. It's all blurred.
I have feelings for you, Sebastian.
Then what's wrong? Why can't we be together?
Really want to know why?
Yes, I want to know why.
It's because I don't trust myself with you.
Later that night, Sebastian comes to Annette's room to convince her to be with him one more time.
I'll move on, but you are gonna have to spend the rest of your life knowing that you've turned your back on love, and that makes you a hypocrite. Have a nice life.
And this time, Annette changed her mind and decided to go all the way with him. And it was at this moment that Sebastian realized that Annette was serious and now he felt bad. And poor Annette was confused and embarrassed. So embarrassed that she left the following morning and intended to go back home to Kansas. When Katherine came in to gloat to Sebastian about Annette leaving, Sebastian rushed to the station to catch her.
I'm impressed.
Well, I'm in love.
So of course, they, well.
Yeah.
And Katherine was mad, super mad, but not for too long because she and Ronald, yes, that Ronald had, well.
Yeah.
And Sebastian ends up catching them in the act, but when Katherine tried to turn her charm on Sebastian, he declined. And now she was pissed.
I'm not in the mood.
I wanna fuck.
And I don't.
She was rejected yet again, and she couldn't take it. She forced him to admit his feelings for Annette and threatened to tell Annette's father about his past in an effort to ruin his relationship with Annette and ruin her reputation.
People don't change overnight. You and I are two of a kind. You were gonna leave school a legend. Now you're gonna leave a joke. You'll not only ruin your reputation, you'll destroy hers.
See, people like her don't change, so she assumed that this is the same for everyone. Yet and still, Sebastian thinks over what Katherine told him, and he starts to feel guilty. So the next morning, he goes to see Annette and breaks up with her.
I thought I was in love with you, but it was just a lie. I wanted it to work, but unfortunately I feel nothing. I just wanted to see what you were like in bed.
You know nothing. You don't even know me.
Obviously, he's lying, and it's hurting him to hurt her, but he'd rather hurt her now than ruin her later. Or worse, give Katherine the chance to ruin both of them. After he breaks up with Annette, he tells Katherine about it, and he also tells her that she was right about them being two of a kind. He tells her that he set up a meeting or reunion with Cecile and Ronald. If he was going to lose, they both were going to lose.
You were right. You do get dumped for the innocent little twits.
Well done.
Thank you.
As they make a toast, Sebastian allows Katherine to gloat about her victory over Annette. But Sebastian had things confused because for Katherine, it was never about Annette. It was always about getting over on Sebastian.
You were very much in love with her, and you're still in love with her. You gave up on the first person you ever loved because I threatened your reputation. You're just a toy, Sebastian. And now you've completely blown it with her. I think it's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
And now Sebastian was big mad and defeated. All of this because Sebastian rejected her. This girl hated to be denied. She would destroy anyone who rejects her or takes attention away from her. So Sebastian immediately tries to contact Annette, but she doesn't answer the phone, and when he goes to her place, her mother doesn't let him in. So he does the only thing that he can do. He gives her his prized possession, his journal. As Annette reads his journal, Sebastian camps out in front of her house. At the same time, Katherine had enough energy for one more scheme. I guess one victory wasn't enough. She wanted to dig a little bit deeper, so she called Ronald, who was with Cecile, by the way, to come over. She lied and told him that Sebastian was being violent with her and that she didn't feel safe alone with him. So, of course, his silly ass went over there to protect her. Sebastian continued to camp out in front of Annette's all night, but when he finally walked away, Annette noticed and she tries to go after him. At the same time, Ronald was looking for him. And eventually, Ronald and Sebastian run into each other. Sebastian tries to brush him off, but Ronald wanted all the smoke.
Where the hell do you come off hitting Katherine?
Ronald, you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Justin told me you fucked Cecile.
Child, now that we're tussling in the streets, Annette finally sees them and tries to stop them from fighting, but she ends up being pushed into the street. And Sebastian pushes her out of the way to prevent her from being run over by a car, but he gets hit and unfortunately, he's killed. Of course, Katherine wasn't affected by Sebastian's death. It could have been her own mother, and I fear Katherine wouldn't have given a damn. At Sebastian's funeral, Annette runs into Katherine in the bathroom and they have somewhat of a conversation.
I know it sounds really trite, but sometimes when I feel I can't go on, I turn to Jesus and he helps me through it.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll see you around campus.
Looking forward to it.
When Katherine gets up to speak at the service, some students start whispering and leaving the church. Katherine starts getting more and more pissed the more students pile out. So she goes outside to confront them and finds out that day, she was the main character. Turns out, Sebastian played the long game, and even while 6 feet under, he found a way to win the bet. With Annette's help, of course. See, Katherine may have ruined Annette and Sebastian's relationship, and he may have lost his life, but he ruined the one thing Katherine valued, her reputation. Checkmate, I guess. But this was the end of the movie, and here are my final thoughts. Rewatching Cruel Intentions made me realize how much we romanticized this movie back in the day. Maybe it was the aesthetic, the soundtrack, or the whole good girl changes to bad guy fantasy, but when you really sit with it, Sebastian and Katherine were absolutely two peas in a very damaged pod. Sebastian was manipulative and addicted to conquest. Sleeping with women wasn't even about pleasure anymore. It was all about control and how easy it was for him. That's why Annette intrigued him so much, because she wasn't easily impressed. She had boundaries, she had morals, and she didn't move based on male validation. Initially, yes, he wanted to take her virginity and ruin her reputation just like everyone else. But the difference between Sebastian and Katherine was that Sebastian knew when he was doing wrong. He knew when he did terrible things and what could happen because of them. He had a conscience, a very weak one, but he had one. And we saw that when he questioned Katherine about her plan with Cecile and Ronald. He knew it was cruel. He still went along with it, but the guilt was always present. Being with Annette cracked something open in him. For probably the first time in his life, he got to exist without performing. With her, he could be quiet, goofy, honest, just a person. And she represented the possibility of him becoming someone different. And that really threatened Katherine, because she was perfectly comfortable with their little games, their missions, being the prize, being wanted. But what she couldn't handle was rejection. The moment Sebastian stopped centering her, stopped chasing her, and stopped viewing her as the prize, that's when things started to spiral. Katherine claimed this whole thing was about Court leaving her for Cecile, but the truth is, Cecile didn't even want that man. Court himself said he left Katherine because she had issues. Cecile clearly liked Ronald, and Ronald liked her, and Katherine watched this unfold with her own eyes, but still, she wanted to destroy the girl anyway. And that's the part I really don't get. Instead of leaving Cecile alone to experience something pure and mutual, Katherine and Sebastian ruined the chance of Cecile giving her virginity to someone she actually cared about. They manipulated her into sexual situations that she didn't fully understand. Plus, she slept with Ronald herself, all while Court still didn't want her. So truly, what was the point? For Katherine, her reputation was everything. She was an absolute devil. But as long as the world saw her as an angel, she didn't care who got hurt. She always assumed she and Sebastian were the same. But what she couldn't accept was that Sebastian wanted to change. And he was changing. His love for Annette made Katherine irrelevant, and that bruised her ego in a way that she could not recover from. Even after she won by sabotaging Sebastian's relationship, she still wasn't satisfied. She pulled Ronald back into their mess, lied about Sebastian being violent, and that chain of manipulation ultimately led to Sebastian's death. Yes, Sebastian confessed his past, and yes, he redeemed himself in the end, I guess. But for me, too much damage had already been done. For Katherine, a ruined reputation wasn't enough. She needed jail time, and maybe an ass whooping, if we're being honest, but definitely more consequences. While this movie low-key pissed me off, I can't even lie, it's still a classic. Anyway, that's it for this recap. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. As for the next recap, all I'm gonna say is 1999. And child, one scene from this movie made me not want to watch it ever again. But this movie proves that staying undercover too long may cause you to lose yourself and your morals, and also mess with your mind. See you next time, you guys. Bye.